What's up, fam? It's Chappell, and the day has finally come. We are here to talk about the final iteration of How to Ruin Christmas, the baby shower. And with me, the person who led me on this journey, this magnificent, ridiculous, outrageous story, Gia. Gia, we did it. We made it.
We made it. I am so happy to be talking about the last season. Now, we had two fantastic seasons with
Mm-hmm.
Tumi at the helm. And now
Mm-hmm.
this season, season 3, is our final season of the How to Ruin Christmas Enterprise Cinematic
Mm-hmm.
Universe, whatever you want to call it. And it's our only Tumi-less season. And I'm dying to know your thoughts, Chappelle. We didn't even get to talk about kind of like our initial thoughts before we started recording.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing. I've watched it, and I'm not gonna lie to you. At first, I was like, I don't know, where's my girl? I need to
Yes,
me. I understand why she can't be here, but it was really hard for me to let go that she wasn't
yes.
there. But then I started to realize the brilliance that her family is effed up regardless. Like that this family is a piece of work. It's two pieces of work coming together to be the
Mhm.
biggest chaotic mess. And Tomi was nothing but the fall person for that. They really made her the face of all their problems. And with her removed, we find out that no, they're just batshit crazy. And I love all of them. So overall, this was a great ending to the storyline. Would have loved to see Tomi, but since we couldn't, I have no complaints about season 3. I really enjoyed it.
I'm so happy to hear that. I again, like when I was first watching this, and I watched it pretty soon after the season dropped, maybe
Mhm.
like a few weeks after it dropped, because it was released fairly soon. So for the context of it, I mean, I highly recommend people listen to the recaps of How to Ruin Christmas, The Wedding, which is the first season, and How to Ruin Christmas, The Funeral, which is the second season. I highly recommend listening to those if you haven't. But in season 3, the baby shower is the only season that does not feature its main character, Tumi, of seasons 1 and 2.
Mhm.
And Tumi was never going to be in this season. I learned from doing some research afterwards about the plan for season 3 was always going to be structured this way because Tumi actress was planning to star in a separate show around the same time. So that's
Mhm.
why the character has the exit that it does in season 2. But then tragically, Busi Larai, who is the actress that plays Toomey, did die after season 3's production was already finished. So when you're watching this season, they don't really say goodbye to Toomey, but they say goodbye in a way. And part of the reason for that is while they were filming this, Toomey's actress was very much alive, and I think that there was probably going to be some opportunity if they were to do future seasons to bring
Mhm.
that character back, even if she was just in a guest spot or not. But you're right, Chappelle, in that I think especially as we learned this in season 2 and then in season 3, especially without Toomey here, that this family is a mess. Both sides are a mess. It does not matter if you are a Sello or a Twala. You are batshit crazy. It is now in your blood. Even people that got married into it, like Lydia over there, is on one during this season. Like it's throughout. And yes, Toomey was the fall girl for a lot of this, but we love her so much just the same.
Yeah, I think the most normal person is probably the furthest removed from the family. Zamalicious, I I was getting to know Zama this season. I really felt like, okay, this might be our Toomey replacement. They're gonna bring in this woman. She's going to be the source of all their problems. But no, she is the source of some problems, but none of it is her fault at all. Not even a little bit. She's shown up here with this elaborate scheme. We find out later on throughout the series that this woman has planned to befriend one of Beauty's friends so that she can get invited to the baby shower so that she can then meet her father, who we will reveal is Boosie. And so from that alone, lets you know that we I kind of hadn't given Boosie enough credit. I didn't think he could pull this off. You remember in is it season 2 where he's like, I had an affair, and Valencia's like, no, you didn't. You could
Yeah,
never. Like, so
exactly.
to find out that this man has stepped out, Gia, this is interesting news.
There was and they made it they did the reveal in such a way that you think for the first 2 episodes, like majority of the first 2 episodes, that it's Zama that Vusi is having an affair with and like currently having an affair with. But we learn later on in the end of episode 2 and the entirety of episode 3, we learn a little bit more about the situation, because I was shocked as you. I was very confused in the first 2 episodes, and then we get to the final one and it actually brings a lot of things together. So what we learn is that the Vusi that we all know and love, and I do love Vusi very much, he is the patriarch of this fucked up little shit show here. And he was very different when he was a lot younger, and sometime between when he was married to Valencia in the earlier years, he had an affair, and that affair resulted in a child who was Zama. He tried to be single on his own, and he realized Valencia was the one, obviously. Vusi, I could have told you that. Like, stop it. Valencia runs this place. I do not know what you thought you were going to achieve by this, but after all of this, Vusi goes back to Valencia. She takes him back. She forgives him for the affair. But this couple had a agreement with Zama's mother that they would financially provide for her, but they would not be physically in her life. And now Zama's mother has died recently, about a month before the events start in this season. And now, because she is passing, she wants to have another family to connect with. She wants to meet Vusi.
And Zama is an influencer. She's got, a lot of followers. She's very popular and famous in her own right. Probably doesn't hurt that she has been financially helped by Vusi in the past. So that, she's not struggling for money. This isn't a situation where she's coming to swindle these people. She's really coming because she wants to get to know her family. But when she gets there to the baby shower and realizes that Vusi recognizes her, it kind of makes her attention shift. And she doesn't want any parts of it. Like, he's trying to shuffle her around, trying to hide her. And she's like, look, I'm here for my money then. It's like, my mom's going, but I know that I'm the heiress to some of this stuff too. You got a lot going on. They bought a resort basically in this season, GM. So they are flaunting their enormous wealth. I was Team Zama the entire time. Like, this lady deserves to get paid.
Absolutely. Especially, so I think, I could be wrong about the exact timing for this, but I believe there was quite a bit of political strife going on in South Africa in the time that this season was filming, which they don't directly address, but they do talk about how, like, now is not the time to be spending money. But of course they are getting a hunting lodge in somewhere in South Africa. I don't know, but it made me want a hunting lodge because it looked very nice.
Yeah. And she's on a mission. She wants to get paid. And so Vusi's thing is he needs to keep her at bay. And so you're right. The show kind of takes you on a journey where immediately you think, oh, Vusi is cheating with this woman. And then they add another layer where we find out Valencia knows about this woman. I'm like, wait. Because I think there's one point where Zama says, oh yeah, you're one of those aunties that is okay with your man having a secret on the side. I was like, I just don't see that for Valencia. And that's where my alarm started going off, though. The conversation that she ends up having with Valencia, it felt like it would be too neat for this to be his affair, right? Or his other woman, his mistress. And so I started thinking, wouldn't it be crazy if this was, a direct parallel to the Tumi storyline we once saw, where Tumi was essentially deserted by her dad and went to go find him. Beauty obviously tried to have a relationship with their father as well. So it would be right along the lines of things we've done in the past that to make this like an actual storyline that I could see happening. So I wasn't absolutely shocked when it came out that she was his daughter. What about you?
My first time watching it, I was shocked. I did not know. I was not fully aware of the direction that it was going in between the first 2 episodes and where we get to the end. And I was a little lost for a bit because I agree with you. This was very different from the Vusi that we have known in the past 2 seasons. He's still very much concerned about his image. He does not always make the best decisions, Vusi. Like, there's also a man that swindled his 2 sons out of 20 grand each last season to pay for a very expensive funeral. So, like this is not necessarily like out of the realm of Vusi. It's just not the character that we grew to know in 2 seasons. But by the end of the 2nd episode, and then really as we get into the 3rd episode, I feel like, okay, this is actually painting a much bigger picture of a lot of the inner workings of the Twala family in particular, especially for like how they were when they were much younger, when before they were the chaotic yet very loving couple that we knew from the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, it's definitely a journey, right? And by the end, I think despite all the chaos that they're about to put themselves through for the next 3 episodes, they definitely seem like a tighter knit group. The Twalas in general, but also the Twalas and the Sellos, because they've been coming up on some bad luck. Things have not been going their way, and Uncle Sia is like, "Hey, remember when Mom died? This is her. This is her. My car got stolen. Mom is trying to talk to us." This might be my favorite storyline because it was just like constantly throughout. Sia is really pushing this narrative that like we got bad luck. We've been doing bad things. We gotta clean this up. Only to find out that like, no, there's probably a lot of other things going on at work too. And by the end, they tidy it all up. I know Sia is one of your favorites.
I love Sia, and so I realized in this rewatch of it, because I had only seen it one other time when the seasons initially dropped, that Sia was more, it's hard to call anybody here a recurring character for a season when there's only 3-4 episodes in the other 2 seasons, but Sia was really like a secondary character in all of this mess, with especially with the Twalas in particular. Like, he was a prominent character, you know who he is, and we love Sia so much, but he isn't a full character in the first 2 seasons, meaning he doesn't appear in every episode, but he does drive a lot of the ire of Vusi in particular when he does show up. This season, he is the main character. He is one of the full like main characters. He's in every episode. He has something going on at all different points, but yes, his main thing is he believes that this is Go-Go's doing after seeing all of the shit they have gotten themselves into over the years.
Yeah, and by the end, he takes the blame off of himself because he starts looking at Vusi like, well, maybe this is you. The fact that you've been neglecting your daughter for 30 years, Mom now knows what's going on. She's in heaven and she's looking down on you, and the ancestors are not pleased. I loved his character throughout. Also, love his outfits. You know, the pants he was wearing in the last episode, I was like,
incredible.
Yeah.
The beginning of it where everyone's like looking to Sia as like a PR press for a PR boost for Vusi as a traditional man, as in connected to his Zulu roots, which is kind of where Sia starts getting pulled into the main Twala chaos in here. But yeah, he realized, you know what? Me stealing from a church, me getting my car stolen, you know, like, I didn't hide a secret kid for 30 years. So really, Vusi, you got to work yourself out.
Yeah, and there's a lot of publicity on Vusi right now. In the last season, he was very poor, but thanks to the help of Sbu, he is now, like, he's flipped it, and now he's buying hunting lodges and things of that nature. He's back on his old, like, lavish BS. I mean, the amount of luxury that we see in these 3 episodes is crazy, and it's largely thanks to Sbu. Now, the problem here is that Timba's right there, and this is probably the saddest storyline to me throughout the entire season because this poor man was in a blender.
Can you imagine, Chappell, us 2 episodes ago, or 2 seasons ago, I should say, but 2 episodes of this recap, that we would be sad for Temba? Like, that we would be like, we would be so protective over Temba at this point in our lives?
I was devastated for him because at first I was like, okay, Temba, grow up. But then throughout, we see him just getting left out of all the cool stuff. I mean, he's getting left out of the publicity. They almost left them when the helicopter took off. And his kid, Shaka, how dare you have such bad vibes at your little ass age? He's driving this man crazy. Lydia's up to, like, she's pulling her hair out about this. I was not expecting this because Temba, if he liked nothing else, he loved being a dad in season 2. I mean, he was just hoisting Shaka up like the new prince of the family, only for Shaka to betray him throughout this entire season.
Shock is just in his terrible twos at this point, I'm pretty sure. Like he's going through a phase. I'm sure he will grow out of it. But for right now, Lydia and Temba are going through it this season. They just want some peace and quiet. Temba wants acknowledgement. Like, they are asking for basic necessities at this point, and no one will give it to them.
They're just not a priority. You know, it's like they have their baby, they're married, his drinking is taken care of, they're not broke right now. So it's like, y'all are fine. You know, Vusi has a lot going on, you know, and they're planning this big lavish baby shower. In fact, they're planning two, basically. The Sellos and the Twalas are now trying to celebrate the birth of Sbu and Beauty's new child. And we know that they've dealt with trauma before when it comes to childbirth, and so a lot of the eyes are on them. And Timba's just falling into the background throughout this entire series. But Beauty and Sbu, they've come so far. It's kind of cool seeing them where they are now, because it's like, I remember, you know, the trauma behind the first child and how hard that was for Beauty. And so this time, you know, they wanted to go perfectly, but the moms are at war over these baby showers, and this was what we needed. Deneo versus Valencia, they can have their own series, and I'd watch every episode.
I would watch literally anything with these two women in it. Like, this just, I want to see like Beat Bobby Flay type show, but just between the two of them, like just with their decor and whatnot. Like, I can picture it, you know, like there's magic there. And Deneo and Valencia, two of the stars of the series, in my opinion, you know, like easily, like there are a lot of stars in this. I love every character here, but Valencia and Deneo are another level. And recently, Deneo has been a little more uppity this season when wanting to be able to one-up Valencia in a lot of ways, especially now that her daughter is now expecting a baby. So we are having quite a party off, like a plan off. I don't know. It's very much like grandmothers or future grandmothers at war with one another, trying to be like the dominant force here. And Valencia and Deneo are both very dominant forces. So good luck to both of them.
Yeah, Beauty is not okay with none of this. She's like, shut it down. I don't want y'all fighting. I don't want any social media. I don't want any. And I'm thinking, girl, just chill, because it's going to happen. These ladies are not going to be able to get along at all.
She didn't even want the baby shower that they originally had. She was so miserable the entire time, and nobody was listening to Beauty. I feel like I felt worse for Beauty this season than I did for Temba. Like, I loved Beauty this season, but Beauty was going through it. Nobody's listening to her. She was very clear about what she wanted and more importantly, what she didn't want, a baby shower or a gender reveal. And people are not listening to her, or they get guilted into revealing information they should not be revealing.
Right. And for her to not want a baby shower and end up with two of them, basically, one having like a live marching band, and it's way too much for her, because she wants to keep it low profile, partially probably because they've already gone through this before. You know, they've lost a pregnancy before. And so she doesn't want to put too much attention on this. She really wants to do things by the book, take all the precautions, and make sure that nothing happens with the baby. But the moment Zama shows up, you know, this slowly starts to spiral into a lot of different issues. One of the issues being that Shadrach cannot eat. He's not able to get a meal to save his life. And so at one point, he's trying to microwave his lunch, and the microwave just keeps throwing the circuit breaker. And instead of, I don't know, unplugging something else in the kitchen to free up that breaker's energy, he tapes the circuit breaker switch up so that it can't flip back down to save everyone from a potential fire. And here we are. Now we have electrical problems and a fire on the way.
Shadrach had a system, okay? And it did not fail him before all of these Twalas came and messed everything up for them. So let us say, Chappell, I just need to ask you something about this,
Okay.
because this is kind of a spoiler for the end of the season, but it's important to me that we're in agreement on this.
Okay.
Were you happy that no one besides the siblings found out that Shadrach was actually the cause of the fire? I feel like Valencia deserved just a little bit of guilt in there.
I agree. I think
Yeah.
I agree. I think that yes, Shadrach is the main cause of this fire.
Yes.
Him, but also he hadn't been able to eat, and I could argue that that's probably their fault too, because they got him in the middle of all this other stuff, and all he wants is a meal. He can't get one, and so his desperation had set in by then. So if I squinted, I could definitely say that this is not his fault at all, but it's largely his fault. By the end,
if it is his fault though, like, I don't want everybody else knowing that it was a very, very sibling solidarity move here, with Grace and Daneo both agreeing that this stays between them.
Yeah, but until then, he has a big secret that he's trying to keep, because his inability to fix this electrical issue really leads to sparks flying in random places in the house right around the time Valencia and Zama are having their big altercation, and it looks like Valencia starts the fire. I mean, she basically does, but it's like she would not be able to start the fire without the sparks that Shadrach had kind of put in motion. And so
it was
the house goes up in flames. It really was. It was an ensemble cast that really made this house go up in flames. And I felt so bad for Daneo, because you could just watch as it felt like all her worldly possessions just gone up in like a puff of smoke.
Yes, like seeing, especially, like, I think it hurt me the most when it was seeing like Beauty in tears at that moment. It was like, this is her childhood home. This is where so many memories were made. Like, we have seen so many great scenes in this house, and it's burned to the ground. Like, this whole piece of what we've known from the Sello's point of view is just gone now. All those memories, everything. So yeah, this was a big loss, and it really didn't hit me of like how big of a loss it was until we got to this to that end scene. And this is the first scene we actually see in season 3, but we don't know the context of it until the very end of episode 1.
Yeah, and episode 2 starts with them having to figure out what to do next. It would be very difficult for the Sellos to just start over. Like everything is gone. Insurance has to do an investigation on, and figure out what's going on as well. I mean, this is potentially arson. So Valencia, just out of the kindness of her heart, offers the Sellos a place to stay, and immediately everyone should know something's up. Beauty is like, wait a minute, you are being kind to my mom? Yeah. And they chalk it up to smoke inhalation, but I mean, it had to be something, because we had never seen Valencia and Daneo play nice at all.
And she even goes as far as to invite them to the hunting lodge afterwards. Like, so that's where we're at for, I think it's like the middle of episode 2 to the end of episode 3 that we're at the hunting lodge as part of it. But yeah, it was very suspicious for a while, like, Valencia, we've seen enough of your work to know something's up.
Do you think if Valencia had nothing to do with the fire, right? If she had nothing to do with the fire at all, if she showed up and the house was on fire, would she offer the Sellos a place to stay, knowing that is Beauty's mama and the mother of her future grandchild, the grandmother?
You want to know what I think?
I would love to know what you think.
Absolutely not. Like, best wishes to all of you. So sorry, the poor stay poor.
Good luck. Good luck
with all of this. Like, best wishes. I think she would let like Sbu and Beauty stay with them, but she's not offering anything to the rest of her family, unless there's like, I think I could see a world where like Sbu is really pushing for them to let them stay with them. But I think honestly Valencia would rather just like put them up in a hotel for a few weeks than like literally anything else than what she ended up doing here, unless she knew that this was in some way her fault.
Absolutely. This is the dead giveaway. The fact that she didn't just put them in a room and say, all right, well, good luck, that should tell you enough. But she's trying to keep Deneo close because Deneo keeps mentioning that the people are investigating, like the police are on the case. They're going to find out who burnt my house down. How did this happen? And Valencia cannot allow that to happen. So there's a point where Valencia is helping Deneo do laundry. I said, Deneo, open your eyes. Open your eyes. This woman would never do laundry with you, ever. She would.
This woman would never do laundry, period.
Right, period. And you sitting there like, I guess she's so emotional that she can't really figure it out. And she's trying to see the good in Valencia as well. Like, out the kindness of this woman's heart, she's doing this to help us. But it's very clear that something is up. And so she goes from, hey, well, let the help do the laundry for you. And as a matter of fact, let's go somewhere else. So let's get out of here. And so they end up saying that they should head to the lodge so they can all celebrate Christmas together. Gia, these people have to stop celebrating Christmas. 3 Christmases in a row. This is a pattern, y'all.
I think maybe to quote Q Barrett for our Survivor fans here, perhaps Christmas should be canceled.
Right. Do that. Because
we are canceling Christmas this year because y'all have done enough every holiday. I feel like 3 times in a row is enough.
Yeah, it seems like only Beauty has landed on that, right? Only Beauty is like, hey guys, let's stop having big functions. We don't need a baby shower. We don't need a gender reveal. We don't need a Christmas party. Last year, Go-Go died. Like,
yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah, but like it wouldn't be the Sellos and the Twalas if they listened to them.
No, not at all. And so Grace decides that Shadrach and her need to go as well. They need to go with Deneo to the lodge because, I mean, why not? They got to go live the lavish life. And maybe Grace could just go find something to do with her time because Aunt Grace, she kind of...
Aunt Grace is horny. Okay.
Yeah.
That's her whole plot, her whole character arc this season. And I love it for her because this is the same woman that gave us high on biscuits on the way to a funeral. Okay. She deserves just some easy living for a while.
Yeah, Deneo was kind of horny in season 2, and she got to have her moment with Tumi's dad. I don't support it. I don't respect it. But it
Beauty's dad, okay? Remember,
I'm sorry, Beauty's dad.
Only abandoned one kid.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, so
I was low-key kind of disappointed that Edmund was not in this season for the main fact that I just wanted him to show up at least once to remind us he only abandoned one kid.
Right. It's like, yeah, but Tumi abandoned us in this one too. So it's like, all right, it's fair. We didn't need him back.
We are the children that Tumi abandoned here.
Right. And I'm sad about it. So Deneo got her chance. So this is Grace's season to try to find somebody to take off relieve some stress, I guess. But on the way to this Hunter Lodge, they give them the credit card because, of course, this family feels bad for them. They don't want them to come out there with no clothes.
That should have been the second clue, though. Right? They just got their money back and they're giving it to you to spend on whatever you need. Like, no one is that generous. And the Twalas are definitely not that generous.
And the Twalas, they travel in style. They got the private jet. They pull up in the Benz trucks and all that other stuff. And I was like, yes. But nobody travels like Grace. Grace with that credit card. When she gets out with the Dolce & Gabbana glasses on, I said, oh, yeah, that's my girl.
My God. It's everything I've wanted for her and more.
And me. I want that for me. Let me have someone's credit card.
I also want that for me. I want to just copy and paste Grace's life for me with this shopping trip.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, I was going to say, we also, for the first 2 episodes, get Bokane and Terrence back for a brief little cameo in there, which I was very happy about.
Well, I'm sad about it because I thought that they were going to have a bigger role, and it really was just a cameo. Like, I was like, if them not being in episode 3 really takes them out of the storyline in a large way.
I know. I'm happy they came back, right? Like, I'm happy we still got to see them, and they were very funny in the moments we did have them, right? Like, they had great commentary. They were very funny, especially when it came to going to, was it called Conga or Conca?
Yeah. Conca, the club. Yes. Yeah.
They were very much in there, like, we are on vacation. We are here to turn up, and we love that for them. But I was a little sad they weren't able to weasel their way into the hunting lodge trip because I know they already had their vacation planned, but I wanted to see them in the hunting lodge because I know they would be living for that Zama is Vusi's daughter reveal.
Oh yeah, the mess was right there. Now almost everybody makes it, but we cannot get to the hunting lodge without reminding everybody that Succulent made the trip as well. This sheep has been getting just dragged around through these last 2 seasons like a family dog. He is Shadrach's brother slash pet slash son, and he too is going to the hunting lodge. And I'm looking at your tagline here on YouTube. It's not going to be a great ending for Succulent.
No, I know last season was the funeral, but we do have another death in this season in the form of our lovely little Succulent, who is an escape artist. We have known that for many seasons now. That is his thing. He likes to wander, and a hunting lodge is not really the place to wander. I really thought that Succulent was going to show up last minute and be like,
same.
I really thought that they were going to like have him running towards Shadrach at the very end of the season to be like, oh, it was another sheep. And then I realized like how ridiculous that sounds, but I thought it was going to happen. I was like, there's no way Succulent is dead.
Gia, I fast forwarded to the end because I wanted to see if there was an end credit where Succulent popped back up. I was in denial to the point where like, Netflix is like, are you still watching this?
I went through the credits the first time I watched to be like, wait a minute, like, this Succulent's not dead. Get over it. But no, he's dead.
He's gone. He is gone.
I saw, and rule number 1 on any type of show involving death, they are not dead unless you see the body. We saw the body and still did not believe that Succulent was dead. I was convinced that was a different sheep.
Same.
Not my Succulent, not my escape artist.
Right. This is all where it kind of goes to hell. Because Deneo, although she's at this hunting lodge, it very conveniently so, she just can't quite get signal all the time. So it's really hard for her to get information about the investigation. So we have Valencia kind of running interference on her the entire time. And she decides, hey, why don't you give Beauty another baby shower? And she's like, what? Like, she's like, you can be in charge. And she said, I don't know. We already did a baby shower. It didn't go well. Well, what if you give her a gender reveal, a surprise gender reveal even? And this is exactly what Deneo wants to hear. I don't know why, again, I don't know why Deneo is not more suspicious at this point, but it's what she wanted to hear. And she decides that she's going to figure out how to throw a surprise gender reveal. Now, they don't know what the gender of the baby is. So that first they have to find out what the baby is.
Yes. And Beauty's been very adamant about the fact that she does not want to know what the gender reveal is, right?
Yeah.
Like she is very, very adamant about this. She has told Sbu, she has told her mother, she has told Valencia, everybody. She does not want to know. But Sbu, he's a little paranoid. Yeah. He's a little concerned about, if the anatomy will affect the birth process of the child. He's very concerned about broken parts, depending on the child, of the gender of the child here. He was very, very concerned. But
he doesn't want to squish the baby's penis. It's just a big deal to him. And although Beauty is like, bro, chill. Like that's not a real concern. To me, one, he's being ridiculous. But two, we know that they've had a traumatic moment before in childbirth or, carrying a child to term. And so it's reasonable to believe he would be paranoid.
I think this isn't a real concern, but I understand this being a concern of his. And he, it was kind of fun to see Sbu be a little ridiculous this season because he's been kind of more like the straight-laced guy for seasons 1 and 2. He always pissed me off like once per season. He does it again this season with the,
this.
We'll get into it in a second.
Yeah.
But, but we forgive him by the end. If Beauty can forgive, I can forgive, I guess. But he is very concerned, and he does not share Beauty's sentiment about not knowing the gender of the baby. So he actually found out on his own what the gender is and didn't tell Beauty, which I personally, I don't see the problem with that he found out the gender and just didn't let her know that he knew. Because I get it. If you guys want different things, if one of you wants to find out and the other doesn't, okay, that's fine. But he folded so quickly.
Oh God.
To Daneo and Valencia. They found out so quick that Sbu knew the gender, and then he revealed even more quickly that they are having a boy.
Yeah, this is tough because I don't want to be the guy with the Sbu cape on today, because he pissed me off in season 1 too. He did piss me off again in season 2 a little bit less, but season 1 I was looking at him crazy. But now season 3, and he has this secret, and I'm trying to see it through his eyes. He wants to be prepared for everything. They've been taking the Lamaze classes. They got the water birth. They got the Beyonce pre-formation playlist. They've been taking all the precautions to make sure that this birth goes successfully. And so he's thinking, I gotta account for if it's a boy or if it's a girl. I gotta know. Beauty, on the other hand, does not want to know. I know you said that you get it because you want different things. You can have different things. But Beauty, I think, is very superstitious about this too. She's like, God intended you to find out when the baby is out. You know what I'm saying? And so this is a direct betrayal to her because it kind of steps on her superstition. It's like, which one weighs more? Beauty's superstition or your paranoia? And I think in his situation, you really don't want to piss off Beauty like this.
Yeah, but if you're that paranoid that you need to know the gender, then find out the gender, but do not for the life. First of all, if Sbu was going to fold that quickly, he should not have found out the gender at all, right? Okay, right. I do agree with that. But in just the grand context of it, if Sbu wanted to know the gender and he thought it was going to make him somewhat less anxious, I totally get that. But you take that secret with you to the grave.
The grave.
Knew, the fact that I don't care that Sbu found out without Beauty knowing, because if Beauty doesn't know, then that's fine. But she found out because you could not keep your mouth shut to your mothers. Yeah. What is wrong with you, Sbu?
He folded so fast. They were so just quickly. Look at me, And that's kind of how we find out that he knows. Because at first, he's still kind of poking around, trying to figure it out. Oh, he just called the gynecologist and was like, nah, I need to know. And so now the secret's getting out. And this man is he's so concerned with everything going great. He's trying to talk to Vusi about it. Vusi cannot be bothered because we haven't talked about it in a while. But Zama has pulled up. She is now at the lodge because she wants her money. She come here for her things. And I think in a small way, she probably just wants closure from her dad. And so Sbu is going to Vusi for advice. And Vusi's like, I don't know what to tell you. Go talk to Timba because Timba is raising a child. And so throughout, we will see Sbu reading a book, the What to Expect While Expecting, and then looking over at what to literally expect once the baby is here. And it's Lydia and Timba falling apart trying to take care of Shaka.
I think one of my favorite interactions throughout this season in particular was the relationship between Temba and Sbu here, of the brother who has already been married for a while, had his own struggles throughout. I think with Temba specifically, it's his sobriety. And now being sober and raising a family and going through those struggles as well. And now he still has his own insecurities. Nothing's perfect, even though they're in this new phase in their life. And then Sbu, who is a bit of a paranoid mess as they're going into this big change that is about to happen, this next life step for them. So, and especially once they start catching on to the fact that Zama might be their dad's mistress, they're not sure yet. They're very, they start catching on that something ain't right. And then they start doing their own investigating, and it does not go well because they jump to conclusions so quickly in here. But I think this was definitely one of my favorite aspects of season 3, is that we did get to see a little more of Sbu and Temba, who are both very compelling characters, but as brothers, they really like shined to me this season.
Yeah, Timba's still working on trying to get Vusi to notice him. I mean, throughout, there's been 3 episodes of him just getting othered. No one cares about Shaka like that. I mean, to be fair, Shaka's got some bad vibes. He's going through the terrible twos.
Where is Shaka's elephants?
Right.
Why did Shaka get elephants?
That's true. For me, I binged these in succession very quickly. And so I just saw season 2. There was no elephants there. Y'all had every opportunity. Well, oh yeah, they were broke in season 2. So they actually didn't have every opportunity to get the elephants. But now we got money again. So it's time to bring out the elephants. Timba is just trying to get Vusi to pay attention to him. And he's trying to help him with the marketing. He's like, look, I got a plan. I can help you too. The same way Sbu helped you, I can be of assistance. But he runs into Zama. And Vusi has to come up with a reason for Zama to be here. And he says that she's the brand ambassador. The Queen of Slay will now be working directly for Vusi. And Timba already knows something's up because this lady, unless her goal is to market to cheating men, what is she doing here? And so throughout, he is going to kind of be watching Vusi closely and will eventually land on the idea that this is not Vusi's daughter. This is his mistress. And he can't just sit by and let this happen, not with Mama around the corner. So it gets really messy very quickly for him.
Oh, yeah. These are 2 mama's boys also. So, Temba's very protective of his relationship with Valencia and wants to make sure that Vusi is not disrespecting Valencia like that. Little to know that they, this is something that already happened about 30 years ago now. And everybody that was involved at the time is well aware of what is going on here.
Yeah, he's almost like the last one to find out. I mean, not really, because Sbu is also is finding out pretty late in the game. But yeah, this is not the big secret that he thinks they're keeping or whatever. And but he still feels responsible for making sure Zama doesn't tear the family apart. I mean, the Queen of Slay is a very popular influencer, and she's probably got some type of like notoriety as far as I think in the first episode when she pops up, someone said hi Jaman, so she's already known to kind of be like a player, if you will. Yes. He don't want his family to get played.
No. But I do like how there's this other element to the story here, is that Vusi regrets how they handled the situation with Zama and her mother. He wishes that, even though does not regret staying with Valencia, he does wish that Zama was in their lives more. And at the time, it just seemed impossible of a thing to request from Valencia here. So he stuck with the plan to provide financially, but not be in her life. And Zama is not aware of that part, and that's what I think hurts her more when Vusi actually sees her, but and recognizes who she is. But this was the agreement that they had before it, and Vusi regrets the fact that he was not in her life growing up. And it takes a while, but he does eventually be able to convince Valencia that this is a family member that he does want in their life, and it has nothing to do with their marriage in particular. It's just the fact that like this is his daughter, and he regrets not having her, like not being a present father to her and only contributing financially, even though originally that seemed like the upstanding, right, correct thing to do.
Yeah, he didn't want to hurt Valencia anymore. So he's like, I will financially support this, but I cannot be there because I have to be loyal to Valencia. Because I mean, I've already done enough damage to this lady, right? And episode 3, it just starts to slip out slowly. These truths keep coming out. Where I think at one point he even says, like, I thought about her, my child, every day of every minute, every second. And Valencia overhears him saying that. And if you're Valencia, this has to hurt a little bit because every day, every minute, every second is crazy. Like you thought about, like, don't get me wrong, that is your child, but you raise a whole other family. You mean to tell me every moment of your life since this kid has been born, you have not been able to take your mind off. It's just been living like everything is normal. Like to me, that sounds like you're hiding some type of deep depression, or you don't
Yeah.
trust, Valencia enough. Like I could definitely see myself taking this very personally if I was her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think Valencia was very much, I don't want to say she's completely right, because like it's Valencia. She's got to be a little wrong,
Just a
like
little bit, yeah.
it's just who she is.
Mhm.
But I totally understand her point of view in here, that she does not want to be reminded of her husband's affair. She felt that the right thing to do here was to provide for Zama financially, but not actually have to address the affair itself by getting to know her. But in doing so, it also just kind of punishes Zama in like her not having to be able to have a relationship with her father or with her brothers. And mind you, Boosie agreed to this, and Zama's mother agreed to this, so everybody was on the same page. And Sbu and Temba did not get a say in this because they didn't know that Zama existed. And this is what everybody agreed to, but now looking back on it, and even Valencia is able to apologize at the end of this. That's how you know she did something wrong.
Right.
That she realizes now that, even though they thought this was the right thing to do, they made a mistake, and they do want to make it up to her the best that they can and have her be included in the family from now on. So it leaves room open for, listen, this family is still in many ways just batshit crazy, but they are working to be more honest with one another and actually form connections with each other. And I think part of that is because a recurring theme of this family, in particular the Twalas, is that they do not talk about their issues. They do not talk about their concerns here with one another, and they do not talk about any secrets that could be unseemly. So this is a recurring theme in there. So there's hope for this family, though, because they're willing to make changes to what their previously decided order is.
Yeah, but they still got another secret, right? And it's this gender reveal. It's still happening,
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they have gone to town. Valencia, Deneo, they have to go into town and to go buy supplies for this gender reveal behind Beauty's back. Shadrach has to go too because they just can't let this man make it. And so he asked Grace to watch his sheep Succulent. And this is where it all starts to go downhill because Grace really doesn't have time to watch Succulent because she has now come across a little jungle fever. She found this white man that she's ready. She's done. She's horny and he's horny and they're ready to get it in out there in the hunting lodge.
Can I just say, this is like when they introduced a white kid to Abbott Elementary.
Yes. Yes.
They were like, I'm like, I really did not think they were just going to have like this white love interest on this very black show on here. But like, this guy is totally into Grace. He matches her freak perfectly. If they ever did a season 4, I would love to see them trying to be a serious couple in it. I don't care if they work out or not. I just love the mess of them. Like, these are two just very horny older adults, and I love it for them. I love this for Grace.
Yeah, she tells him, "I want you to colonize me," and
that
not
was,
the way you
that
think.
was out of pocket. That was so out of.
Damn, like there are so many layers. I could write a thesis on why you shouldn't say that to that man. Like, lady, you know what the mean?
It was insane behavior on her part.
Yeah, but he was
absolutely insane.
He was into it. So she has to pass off Succulent to the boys. Temba and Sbu are sitting there plotting on how they can get rid of Zama before she ruins the family. And so now they have to watch the sheep, but they can't do it either. They're very busy. And so they tie Succulent up. And as you said earlier, Succulent is an escape artist and will get free. And so from here, things just start to just spiral out of control. Zama ends up coming across, I think, Temba at that point, or no, comes across Beauty. And Beauty has been very suspicious of what's going on. I don't think so much suspicious, but she's been noticing that the moms are getting along too well. It's a lot going on. Why are y'all hanging out? Like, it really takes a fire. Like, you burning down your house is what it took to bring you two together. And Zama hasn't been spending a ton of time with Beauty, but when they start talking, she spills the beans that the gender reveal is happening, and that means Beauty is now putting the pieces together. So there's a gender reveal. That means y'all know what the gender of the baby is. And the only way that my parents can know what the gender of the baby is if my husband told them. And I got to figure this out. Matter of fact, I don't want to be anywhere near these people. She takes a cart and she just drives off into the wilderness, where all the lions and tigers and all kinds of stuff is. Like, this was a bold move. Gia, would you ever do something like this?
I mean, I totally get where Beauty is coming from, because of everybody that I was surrounded with while I was very, very pregnant were not listening to my very basic instructions on here. I would be pissed. And this family is nuts. They do this every year for every Christmas season.
Mm-hmm.
I felt Beauty in this moment, because there are people in my life that I can feel very similarly about. Like, sometimes you just need to leave. Sometimes you just you just need to go. You just need to be away. In this very dangerous area with a lot of carnivorous predators, and you're 8 months pregnant, and you have a lot of other stuff going on here, I would not want that for myself. I think that is just very dangerous.
Yeah. She's looking for someone just to connect with, and she finds Shadrach, and she's like, wait a minute, where are the parents? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. She sees him with the bag, and when she snatches the bag from him, she finds the blue dye, which leads her to believe that this baby is a boy. And now she too has been spoiled on the gender of her child. She's mad at everybody, and she drives off. Shadrach, on the other hand, is now looking for Succulent, and he cannot find him. Grace is like aware now that Beauty knows. Like, so Beauty is going on a side mission to just get away from everybody, while everybody else's secrets are coming out. Timba ends up revealing that Vusi had an affair, even though this Zama is not his mistress, it is his daughter. Zama reveals that Valencia burned down Danae's house. You know, there's so much going on. And in the final episode, it basically starts with Valencia calling Zama's mom a homewrecker. We found out that Zama's mom died a month prior to this happening. And clearly, you know, as you talked about, Vusi was just very different in his past, and they figured out how to move forward, even though it was at the expense of Zama. And so while they're all trying to put this together, they can't find Beauty. Sia says that he saw her drive off into the wilderness. And what we will see is that she ran out of gas, Gia.
Honestly, I don't know how to check gas in a golf cart, so I do feel this very personally. Like, that is not something I would be thinking of, but this move would have a lot more like of a punch to it if she thought to pick a cart with actual gas in it.
And her water broke.
Oh yeah. And so she has to kind of like find a place to hide and figure out what she's going to do. I don't even, like, what is the alternative to here? Just like
sit.
Just accept your fate.
Yeah,
your gods and hope for the best.
I guess I'm just gonna give birth right here in the savannah. Yep. You know, it really felt like, because she has no signal, right? Like, that was one of the things we knew about this Hunter Lodge, is that once you get out there, there's no guarantee that you're gonna be able to call anybody. And so this woman is about to have a baby, probably miles from the nearest hospital, which would be ideal for their situation, but also probably a few hundred feet away from her family. Like, no one knows where she is. And so with all the drama going on, they actually have to figure out a way to find her. And it's Zama who goes out and finds her, because Zama has a car. She has that red sports car, and she just goes out and really tries to have this moment with Beauty where she's telling Beauty about all her problems, when I'm sitting there thinking, I think Beauty's problems probably take priority right now. Like, she really needs to get back.
No one wants to dismiss Zama's, you know, familial traumas right now, right? Because she's processing a lot as well. But in terms of like immediate needs, I think Beauty takes priority here.
Yeah, because she wants to talk. Like, Zama is like, oh my God, and my mom passed, and Boosie's my dad. I wanted a part of this family. That's when she reveals her big evil plot to get to know everybody and then work her way into the family. It's not evil. It's so touching that she would do all of this to be around them. Stalkery, but still, her heart was in the right place. But again, honestly, Beauty's got to get back home.
Yes, but also she matches the Twalas perfectly because there are at least 3 of those family members that I feel like would do the exact same thing in her position. So, and 2 of them are Valencia.
Right, exactly. And Valencia she's dealing with, of course, obviously the Vusi situation. Vusi wants Zama in his life. And Valencia is like, yeah, like we got to do this as a family. We're doing everything together. This is not going to be a you situation. We should have welcomed this girl in. We made those mistakes as the past. She's gone 30 years without a dad. She needs to celebrate Christmas with us this year and be with her dad. But there is a very sad thing happening. We have found, thanks to this white man, we have found Succulent's body. Yeah. R.I.P. I don't know what to say.
R.I.P. King, to a real one.
To a real one. The Shadrach took this so hard.
I don't blame him. But it went on for just a little too long for me to be like, this is a really sad moment.
The Beauty is missing and potentially giving birth out in the wilderness, and you are crying over the carcass of a sheep. I will give him this. I will give the actor this. The actor really portrayed that I'm in love with this sheep. Like, this is my child. This is my brother. Like, it felt real. It felt like he had lost a family member.
The actor that played Shadrach in all 3 seasons was phenomenal. I think all 3 of the Sello siblings were fantastic all the way through. But this season in particular, they just took the crazy up. Just like a few notches here, and it was perfect.
Yeah. So now everyone's finding out all the secrets. Sbu finds out that Beauty now knows about the gender reveal. And so he's off to find her. Valencia is finally apologizing to Dineo, who has no clue exactly what's going on. Like, she's kind of out of the loop. She doesn't realize that Beauty is giving birth at this point. And Dineo actually, on the low, tried to have Valencia arrested after she admitted guilt of burning down that house. That is the funniest thing to me because it was so subtle that the cops show up and she's just like, what are y'all doing here? This lady's going through a lot. What are we doing? Like, lady, give us a piece.
This was great. I loved it. Because this is the type of petty we need, right? Like, you burn down my house, I'm getting you arrested. It seems fair.
I mean, even exchange.
At your own hunting lodge.
Right. Even the cops were like, I think we work for her. It's like we're on lodge security. I think this is our boss. I don't know if we can just arrest her because some lady said so, but they were going to. And now we get Beauty in the jacuzzi. She'd been practicing on this water birth for a while, and so the closest thing they could get to their birthing tub was the lodge jacuzzi, and she doesn't want to talk to anybody. Beauty is shooing away the entire family. No, get away from me. Eventually, she kind of lets Sbu in because he's going to help her. She starts letting her guard down eventually.
Zama kind of pushes her towards the, like, listen, I don't want to be here as your only support.
I am not the one.
I am not the one. And you have a lot of people that do want to be here with you. And I think even though they're all very fucked up, that you should give them a chance and let someone else grip your hand because I don't want it to be me. And honestly, that's the most valid point anyone's made on this entire season.
Yeah, I am not the one. That should have been my tagline here on the YouTube page. I definitely should have, because she said it 3 times and she meant it every time. Like, please find someone else to do this.
Yes.
So Dineo finally finds some sympathy for Valencia as well, because she is going through. She doesn't want to see this woman in distress. And Beauty's birth is probably this is the biggest deal right now, right? We all need to be focusing on that. And the family does. They come together. The baby is born, and everybody feels like a part of this tight-knit family except for Zama. She actually doesn't, and she takes off. She's like, I don't need to be here. You clearly didn't want me. Y'all have gotten together and not really, invited me in. Y'all are having this moment or behind this baby. I think it's time for me to go.
Yes. But Vusi and Valencia go and find her. They actually get the police
They call the police.
to pull her over so that they can apologize to her and invite her to their Christmas dinner in the morning.
Yeah, and this cop was doing the most. This cop felt like they were taking their job a little too seriously, because I really felt like, okay, you don't have to arrest her. She didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah. It was like, calm down. Just turn it down a notch, okay? Like, you don't need to be doing all this.
Yeah. And so after 30 years, they're finally able to have a Christmas dinner with, or spend Christmas, I guess, with Vusi's child, Zama. She's a part of the family, and people have to kind of remind her that this is a crazy family. Like, Cebu's like, hey, this is your chance to get out. We got a new baby here, but there's been so much that has happened over the last 3 Christmases. We've had a death of a grandma, we've had a fire, we've had an affair, we've had, we've lost our drunk brother. Like, all this stuff has happened, and this is the family that you want so bad. Welcome to the Sellos and the Twalas. We're here. Congratulations.
And I loved it. I think this is a very good finale for the series and a closing for the Sellos and the Twalas. But they did give us some little Easter eggs of what could potentially happen if they decide to do another season of How to Ruin Christmas. Because a couple things that happened towards the end. Vusi asked Valencia to marry him again, renew their vows. So my assumption being, if they do another How to Ruin Christmas season, because it hasn't been officially canceled, it would be around the vow renewal.
Yes.
And which I think is incredible work here. Sia announces he is moving back home, back to them permanently now. So, which I think was kind of the opening the door for him to stay a main character here. And we do hear Temba gets to have a meeting with his dad and deliver his pitch for marketing.
Yeah. So it's all coming together, and by the end, everybody's pretty happy, especially Dineo, because Valencia and Vusi have announced that they are going to financially support the Sellos and the rebuilding of their home, because Valencia burned the house down. Now, Shadrach will eventually go and tell Dineo that Grace knew about it all along, and that this is Grace's fault. He threw her under the bus. These people cannot hold water to save their lives.
It's incredible. These 3 stooges here, they love each other, but they will throw each other under the bus so fast, especially when it comes to facing Dineo's wrath. But luckily for them, Dineo also doesn't want this secret getting out, because if Valencia finds out that she might not be at fault, they're not going to offer to rebuild their house. So it's better for everybody that we all just believe that this is 100% Valencia's fault and not on anybody else in this situation. And you know what? Very fair.
Gia, whomst are we to say no to a gift from God? Whomst
are we?
I need that in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, whomst are we? Why did it take so long for this to get to me?
I really do. I think that should have been, I feel very strongly about the passing of Succulent, but also I feel like that should have been my my headliner here is whomst are we to reject this gift from God?
Not me. Couldn't be me. Not me.
You know what? They're 100% right on this. Why question God's gifts? He works in mysterious ways. I certainly don't know any better. So let it be how it will.
Yeah.
Whomst are we?
Whomst are we? God's mysterious ways led us here, right? Like I said, all the trials and tribulations that we've gone through, Christmas after Christmas after Christmas, has made this family so much tighter. Vusi is looking around, and for once, they actually feel like one big family instead of the Sellos and the Twalas. Gia, thank you so much for introducing this to me. This was so much fun.
I'm so glad that you loved this show as much as I love this show. It is so messy. It is still my favorite Netflix series that I have ever watched on here. And I'm so glad we got to talk about it, because it's my favorite, and I needed to be able to share the mess with others.
Yes, thank you so much, Gia. we got a lot going on this month for Black History Month. It is the anniversary of Recap Kickback. 1 year anniversary. We made it. Gia, what are you working on in the meantime?
All right, so I am almost done with our 50 for 50 write-up. So we will be back soon talking on Inside Survivor, or writing on Inside Survivor, I should say, about my last 2 picks for who I think should return for Survivor 50. So I have 1 man and 1 woman left, and I'm very excited to announce who they are. And I will be back for regular recaps on Survivor 48 on Silent Podcast when that comes out on our podcast. I don't know about that. Chappell, I'm sure we'll get you in there for some episode. We just got to pick the perfect one as usual.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. And are we talking about our Black History Month plans, or are we going to put that?
Yeah, put it out in the universe. Let's do it.
All right. So around Valentine's Day, right? Like, we're still working out the specific date, but we are going to have a branch steal of Black cartoon characters. So we are finalizing the list right now. We are finalizing the tribes that we put together, but we are going to be joined by Isaiah, I believe, right? Yes. Isaiah said he would do it. And we are going to be doing our own branch steal with Black cartoon characters. Now, I know some people were wondering why Cartoon Network put a post out of certain cartoon characters and not including others. You can debate that all on your own. I just saying, I loved it. And, you know, we might see some of them on our tribes moving forward.
Yeah, if you ever wanted to see, you know, Black cartoon players play Survivor, characters play Survivor, then this is a good place to be. It's going to be so much fun. Try to bring you in that in the coming weeks. Gia and I are still talking about Abbott Elementary, so we should have a recap coming out soon to talk about the most recent 2 episodes of that. And then, of course, a ton of other content here on Recap Kickback. We're going to celebrate this year anniversary. A lot of goofy stuff. We did the recap of the Grammys, our reaction panel that I assembled last night, like broke glass for an emergency. It was so much fun. Check out all of that and more here on recapkickback.com. And make sure you subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/@recapkickback. Gia, @classicallygia.
Yes.
And @Recap Kickback. We will talk to you all next time. Peace.
I've been trapped behind Twala Maria, isolated like it's North Korea. Smaller city with some bigger dreamers. The wall is cracked, I'm looking in between it. The world is yours, but man, I gotta see it. They say it's hard, but man, I gotta see it. The air I'm breathing can't feel my chest. Wait on life, I wanna hold my breath. I'ma get in my goddamn self.